Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the eTravel Weekly show from Virtual Miss Friday. I'm Michelle Dale, and this is a show dedicated to digital nomads and intrepid online service providers from around the globe. Keep listening for what's new inside Virtual Miss Friday, plus I'll be sharing my best eTravel discoveries, including top tips and bright ideas to help you create an outstanding online business and virtually anywhere lifestyle. This show is completely free and published as a video, audio and newsletter. You can sign up at www.e-travelweekly.com for new episodes and our archives. So let's get started with the show.
Oh, groovy, baby. Yeah.
So this week actually is quite auspicious. It's my birthday this weekend. And if you haven't already seen it, I've released earlier this year a publication called A Decade on the Road, basically because I left the UK a day before my 24th birthday when I was 23. And so I've been on the road almost a decade now, and I figured that it might be nice to share with you guys basically this kind of book, which is to do with the top 10 things that I personally have found very valuable and the things that I've learned over the last decade. So the decade is pretty much turned around, and I'm still here and I'm still doing what I'm doing. So if you haven't yet downloaded A Decade on the Road, then go to the free account at virtualmissfriday.com/subscribe, and then you can get that ebook, or you can download it from the newsletter this week. So moving on to what's new inside Virtual Miss Friday this week. The first thing I want to introduce to you is this week's blog post, which is called Sailing Through an Overwhelming Team Workloads. Basically, these last couple of months have been there have been a lot of changes in Virtual Miss Friday in the company in terms of staff, in terms of workload, in terms of clients. We've been taking on a lot of new projects. Some people have been away, some people have left, some people have joined us. So it's been kind of really busy, and we've just been kind of mucking through, and there's been a lot of people who have taken on a lot more additional work. So we've had this experience where things have got a little bit overwhelming during the transition period, especially when we've also introduced a lot of new systems and ways of working and instructions and procedures and things like that. So there's something that I put in place inside the business, which will help myself and my team leaders and my team to basically be able to manage a sort of overwhelming or increasing workload. So check out that blog post, because I think it's really, really valuable information. It's certainly helped us. So I think it could possibly help you too if you work with a team, or you have a few people around you where you delegate work to them as well as part of your business. Moving on to the roadmap, basically we've done now a schedule for all the latest versions and new versions, which are going to be updated annually inside the roadmap products. For those of you not familiar, the roadmap is basically a system that I have designed, which comprises a members club, business programs, service courses, and basically they work in unison together. And because I'm so really anal about updates and things like that, I've now put a schedule of updates on side the roadmap, which is virtualmissfriday.com/roadmap. So if you have access to any of the programs, or you're thinking about joining any of the programs, you'll now be able to see when exactly they're going to be updated and what version they'll be updated to, and the kind of schedule of events there. So the next one coming out is a shoestring. Although it says July, August, I'm going to try and get that out a little bit earlier, because I am preggo and my baby is due in July. So hopefully I'll be able to squeeze that one out. Not the baby, the program.
Oh, behave.
Before July, when my baby actually does come out. And finally this week, basically what we had was a question from our last eTravel Weekly, where I happened to mention during the show that I get up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And this isn't just me kind of doing an early riser thing. I actually have a kind of program, I call it a productive sleep program, to do with the sleep pattern that I use to basically increase my productivity by double. It allows me to get things done in half the time. I had a great question from Tracy, who said that she's really interested in giving my sleep pattern a go, and can I give her a breakdown of exactly how it works and when I have breaks versus working. So what I did was I've added a new tutorial to Visa inside the vapassport.com. If you're not a member, you can join at the vapassport.com. And if you are a member, log in and check out this month's Visa tutorial, which is productive sleep, an alternative sleep pattern for better life. And basically the biggest thing about this sleep pattern, I mean, there's so many benefits to it, but primarily is the productivity increase and the amount I'm able to get done in a day, as opposed to an alternative, more traditional sleep pattern of the 7.5 to 9 hours. So I have a different kind of way of breaking up my day, and I think you guys will find that really, really helpful if you want to try it. So check out this month's Visa tutorial inside VA Passport for that. Moving on to my top e-travel discoveries. This first one is not really a discovery, but as I mentioned before, somebody asked me about sleep patterns, and recently Marie Forleo, funnily enough, also did a video on her site about sleep patterns. So if you don't want to go over to the VA Passport and watch a tutorial video, you can come on here, because I actually did leave a comment on her blog post to do with the sleep pattern. Let's see if I can find it for you now. Okay, so this is basically what I said. I said I never used to be a morning person. I hated them until I changed my sleep pattern. So now I go to sleep around 1 a.m. It's sort of between 12 and 1, and wake up around 5:30 a.m. and I immediately start working. And I do this generally in bed with my laptop, as I have the luxury of running a virtual business, of course. So basically I can work from anywhere, and I choose first thing in the morning to work from my bed. By 8 a.m, when the kids need taken to school, I've answered all my emails, I've sorted out my prep for the day, I've dealt with my urgent stuff, and I'm on a clean slate to plan whatever I want in my day. So this is it in a nutshell, really. I then sleep for around 1 to 1.5 hours in the afternoons. This is of paramount importance, because I would have considered it a complete waste of time. And I think we're so programmed, our brains are so programmed to think that sleeping in the afternoon is lazy, that we just don't do it. But I think it's crazy that we don't do it, because it's really changed my life. And then basically I'm ready to start the day again after my nap. So it took about 2 weeks of adjustment since ditching my 8 hours a night routine. And it's like having 2 days in one. So it literally feels like I'm starting a brand new day every afternoon. I'm supercharged and productive. I get done in 2 hours, which would normally take me in 4. I'm super on the ball, and things get done really, really effortlessly now. And I have loads of free time in the day. I don't get tired or lethargic, which was a big thing for me. I have 2 kids, I'm currently pregnant, I run a company, and basically I have quite a busy lifestyle, not to mention the traveling and stuff that I do. So it can get a little bit overwhelming sometimes, as we all know, if you are a parent as well. But this has completely radically changed the balance of my life. And I let go of my daytime work routine, and sometimes I can work in the early hours of the morning, sometimes I can work till 1 a.m. and I feel really great when I wake up. And basically I choose my work on my terms. But in the video tutorial I mentioned before, I lay out my morning, my afternoon and my evening to give you some sort of idea of roughly how my day goes. So from my personal experience, you can have the best of both worlds, because this post on Marie Forleo's site was basically about, should you be an early riser, or are you going to miss the boat if you go to bed if you get up too late? So I thought that was really good, tying it in there based on what Tracy asked me and what I mentioned last week about getting up early. I do think it's really worth getting up early, and you can check out Marie's post for that one. Next, on my discoveries. I came across this post on LinkedIn called Always Assume Success But Learn to Accept Failure. Basically, this post is by a guy called Guzman Diaz, and he's on the ones to watch list of the UK students and recent graduates, and he's traveled through 3 countries over the last 2 years, basically garnering experience in various high-growth venture-backed tech companies, working in both marketing and finance roles. So he's a little bit clever. And he shares his experience in the post, but the most interesting point for me was the one down here about assuming success. It's fantastic. He says, assume success. Always tackle things with a positive mentality. It will force you to try things you would be shy to otherwise. It may go wrong sometimes, but it will go right others. Fail, learn, iterate. What a fantastically sound piece of advice that is. We are so programmed, again, this is another thing that we're programmed to do, which doesn't really serve us, is to always think of the worst case scenario. And then what we do is we plan for the worst case scenario. And basically, in my opinion, what he's trying to say here is that we should plan for the best case scenario all the time. And I started doing that probably at the beginning of last year. So I've been doing it for quite a while now. And basically, it just didn't make sense to me anymore to think to myself, oh my God, well, what's the worst that could happen? And then basically plan my entire life around what the worst possible case scenario was. Because all I was doing generally is attracting that scenario into my life because of the amount of attention that I gave it. So instead, what we should always do in any kind of business venture that we're going through or any kind of life change is assume that we will be successful at whatever it is we put our mind to or we set forth and try and do ourselves. Assuming success is so much better and more productive than assuming that we're going to fail and expect the worst. So I encourage you and urge you in whatever task that you're undertaking, whatever new aspect of your business you're looking at launching, whatever product or program or service that you're looking to start selling, assume that it will be successful and plan for the success and not the failure. Although he says learn to accept failure, which is also very, very good, you can't always expect that everything is going to go according to plan. What you can do is always assume that it will. And by doing that, I think you will find out that things work out best in your favor. And finally, on Social Media Examiner, my favoritist social media site in the world, is how to create a business blogging plan. I get asked by so many people about where they can start with blogging, and I was so impressed with this post that was published by Linda Dessau, and she basically takes you through a 6-part step-by-step plan on how to start a blog and where to get inspiration for your posts, creating your mission statement, marketing your blog and your blogging goals, choosing your blog categories, and setting your blog schedule, which is so important, by the way. If you don't have a blog schedule, you're just like set for failure. So make sure you have an achievable blogging schedule, and then how to monitor and evaluate your results. So check out that post because it's absolutely fantastic. And as always, the links to everything mentioned in the show is inside www.e-travelweekly.com, where you can sign up for a free account. You can get all the episodes, get all the links, and everything is there very conveniently for you. So I hope this helps. I look forward to receiving your comments as always and your questions, and I'll see you on the next show. Thank you so much for listening to this show. For more eTravel Weekly episodes, you can sign up for a free digital backpack at www.e-travelweekly.com, where I post the video, audio, and newsletter, plus all the links featured inside this week's show. You can also subscribe via YouTube at michelleonyoutube.me or via iTunes at michelleonitunes.me.